Hi guys, so this is the next video in the course, and for this one we are once again using our framing device, but this episode we're focusing on uh, what we call positive and negative shapes. So with this drawing, what we're going to be focusing on, instead of um, measuring each object individually and um, trying to render the contours of each object. What we're actually going to be looking at is we're going to try to perceive uh, the what we would call negative shapes. So we're not necessarily looking at the object itself for itself. What we are actually going to try to render is what are the shapes around the object. So as you can see, if you go all the way across these objects, you see here's the framing edge, and it makes these very interesting, what we call negative shapes. So it's pretty much not, you're not looking at the object, you're looking at what's around the object, and you're trying to accurately render that shape. So whereas we can still use sighting and measuring and all of those techniques that we used before, what you're trying to draw is with the frame, you're trying to draw what the object is, or what the shape is around the object. So it's interesting we have a circle because we have this really interesting circular shape that's used as a negative object. So by being able to render these objects, what's left are the contours of the objects themselves. So instead of looking at the object in and of itself vis-a-vis the other objects like we were before, what you're trying to draw is instead, what are these shapes? So you don't necessarily have to count, I'm not really counting the pencil sharpener, but if we were to look at that rectangular frame there, what I'm actually trying to draw is everything around the objects. So I am going to do that, and I will show you the results in the next video. And so what this technique is, it's another way of seeing. You almost have to visually and in your brain flatten out this composition. It's nice that we have this frame here because it really does delineate like this really thin shape, and then it comes up here and makes this interesting shape as it comes down around the object. So what I want you to do for these set of positive negative shape drawings is I actually want you to fill in the negative shapes. And even though you can use, once again, like an HB or mechanical pencil or B pencil to do some outlining of these negative shapes, you then want to use more of the 6B pencil or graphite stick, and then just fill in. So basically we're just making a black and white, or gray and white if you're using graphite, flat shape drawings, so that we're able to differentiate between the positive, the objects, and the space around the objects, because what you're trying to see is these shapes around the objects. So it should be a pretty simple drawing, and you can just, it's like shading in the background around the objects. So with this one, I may include the pencil sharpener, I may not, but I'm really just going to shade in all of this shape here, including this interesting circular one, and even down here. So everything that's not the objects in the foreground, you're going to just shade in, and it's going to make really interesting, abstract, kind of flat shape drawings. So once again, I've actually on my sketch pad, I've just traced again the frame of my window. So it's a relatively small drawing, but yeah, there's just going to be a flat shape, but it's going to delineate the background from the foreground, the positive shapes of the objects versus the negative shapes of the background. So I'll do that and I'll show you.